Hi, we're talking about managing risk within the family enterprise and specifically managing the people risk, especially during this time of disruption and the pandemic. And Claudia Montgomery from PwC has a few insights on what family leaders can do in order to get through this extraordinary time. So, Claudia, what do leaders need to be considering?
When we think about the people issues surrounding this time of disruption and the pandemic, there are really four areas that leaders need to focus on. Obviously, health and safety of the workforce is absolutely paramount. When we think about safety, whether that's someone working at home and making sure they have the proper ergonomics in their home office, or safety on the plant floor as they're coming into the facility, making sure they have the proper PPE and temperature checks and things like that. But health and safety is paramount. Second is productivity, making sure that they have the tools and processes in place to help them deliver whatever it is that they're doing. Businesses have learned some hard lessons about, how long it takes to get those tools in the hands of employees. Also thinking about information security and some of the elements of risk surrounding technology that enables productivity certainly needs to be a concern as well. People need training in order to be able to keep information and facilities secure in a time of transition. Third is capability. Really thinking about, what is our business strategy today? What is our business strategy 5 or 10 years down the road? And what capabilities do we need to have in our workforce in order to deliver against that business strategy? So does that call for reskilling, upskilling? And how are we going to attract and retain talent with the right skills to deliver against that business strategy? So starting to think about what is that going to look like and how do we get our folks lined up to deliver that is really an important step right now. And then the last piece, number 4, would be responsibility. Employees are really everybody's having a tough time, and employees are seeking organizations who are taking responsibility. They're leading with purpose. They are clear about their mission, and they are taking responsibility for action out in the world regarding some of the challenges that we are facing as a society. So really spending time talking and listening to employees to understand what those concerns are, and then taking some action to address those concerns. Those are 4 areas that I think are really front and center right now when we think about the people aspects of emerging stronger.
It's a very comprehensive list, and that last point that you talked about there was really around values and principles, and family companies have an edge on that. They have thought about their purpose, they've thought about their values and principles and what they stand for. But this is an overwhelming list of items. Where should a leader begin within their family firm to kind of tackle some of these complex people issues?
It's a great question. Most leaders will gravitate to sort of the structural elements of the business that are, causing issues and pain right away. And those are important, right? We got to keep business moving. We've got to make sure we have business continuity. But leaders have to remember that there are a lot of informal things happening in the distributed teams environment that can help people overcome a lot. The leadership behaviors, the modeling that goes on, the things leaders decide to talk about, how they talk about things, what stories they tell about the good things that are happening. And as new ways of working are forming out in their businesses, to champion the new behaviors, support them with structure, but champion those behaviors with storytelling and with modeling to help people understand, how do we live those values? How do we live with purpose and do our jobs in a way that really supports that broader enterprise mission and those values.
What's really interesting is that some of the things that you're talking about there really put the human being right at the center of things, that their care and well-being will actually lead to greater efficiency, more productivity, and purpose. So how do you design around that?
It's a great question. There isn't a silver bullet. I've talked to many organizations about, really how do you start to get your arms around all of this? And as I mentioned before, there are sort of structural things. There's sort of the formal structures and the informal structures. There is, sort of the, I'll say there are many different levers to pull. And some of them are easy, some of them are tough, some of them are monetary, some of them are non-monetary. But it's really starting with the employee at the center, because those are the folks who are producing the work, and moving your business forward. So really focusing on the people and their needs, and moving through their journey, the journey that they're facing right now, and helping to support them in a way that allows them to reach that high level of productivity.
What you're really talking about is an evolution of culture at the end of the day, with a corporate culture that is expanding to include the well-being of each employee just a little bit deeper than we have pre-pandemic. Would that be the case in your opinion?
Absolutely. We have a very unique aperture at this moment. When you think about it, as a former HR leader, one of the biggest challenges that I faced in the time I was HR leader was really trying to get people to change behavior, right? Whether it's a learning and development initiative or anything that we're trying to do, behavioral change is hard, right? People don't like change. We have a natural catalyst for change right now. As unfortunate as the pandemic is, it's provided us with this inflection point right here where everybody has to change behavior. They're doing it right now. So as an employer, recognizing this moment as an opportunity to challenge your folks to do new things and give them support to form new behaviors that are going to help move your organization in the right direction for the future. That's the real opportunity. So yes, there are risks in this time, plenty of them. But if you can get beyond the risks and really examine what are the opportunities and how can I capitalize on this cultural inflection point with what I describe as very high level of behavioral malleability, and really think that through to push the business forward, that's really where you want to be focused. So it is absolutely a cultural moment, and there's a lot of opportunity to evolve at this time.
Well, great. Thank you for your insights and your thoughts on this. What I know of family firms is that they're ever adaptable and often incredibly passionate and purpose-driven. So I'm sure they will take this inflection point and make the changes. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.